Hello friends, welcome to the second episode of the program. In this episode, we will be seeing what is e-governance and how it can be smart governance by being spatial. That is why we are discussing it in such a way that it is be spatial, be smart. So, how we can see how that can be, how being spatial can be being smart. That is what we will be discussing in this episode. So, starting with e-governance and e-government, even though it may seem synonymous that, or it may seem that is we may feel that it can be these two terms are interchangeable, but actually it is not like that. These two terms, e-government and e-governance, are two different terms and that can be defined in two very distinct ways. And in that way, so we will just see what is e-governance. E-governance is a broader topic that deals with the whole spectrum of the relationship and networks within government regarding the usage and application of information and communication technologies. So, it is a broader term. So, and then what is e-government? E-government is actually a narrower discipline dealing with the development of online services to the citizen, more being electronic or more the E component on any particular government service such as e-tax, e-transportation, e-health, like the different in different capacities and capabilities, different governments are providing different services, but only thing is that they are all electronic, that is all. But e-governance includes all the services and all the process that are all involved, and into that the people or the who are being ruled by the governments can also be a part of that, they can communicate. That is the difference. So, that is how these two terms, e-government and e-governance, are not one and the same. And so, clearly defining, e-governance is a concept which defines how and what the public sector organization will govern. How and what, that is very important. The public sector organization will govern, how they will serve their citizens, how they interact with other stakeholders, namely business partners, employees and government departments. So, that is why, as we have seen, it is a broader term, and E stands for electronic. So, electronic governance is the tool by which citizens can communicate with government. So, that is how the difference comes. E-government means it is the government, any government which provides some electronic services to its citizens, whereas electronic governance is the tool by which citizens can communicate with government. So, it is a by-way, it is a two-way communication like thing, and all the processes are involved in this e-governance when we say that. And in that way, in that case, it is more than a simple automation of services. So, when we say e-governance, rather than going to the office directly and paying the tax, paying the bills and getting the certificates and all, so it is online, everything is made online. In that case, we can say it is e-government, but e-governance is more than that. It is not a simple automation of services or availability of information online, but it also involves citizens to communicate and participate with government in decision making process. That is a very important part. That is actually it is a privilege to its citizens, and the government is getting into an advanced stage wherein it is taking into trust, it is getting the trust of the citizens, and that is making the privilege of that, it is making advantage of that. That is, the citizens are also involved in the decision making process, and it is the responsibility of the government to open the avenues. So, that is why it is a higher step when compared to e-government. Being an e-government is easier than providing e-governance, because in that case the citizens are also given an opportunity to be a part of the government. They will also feel that, okay, it is my government, because I have also got a stake, and I have also, my opinion is also taken into consideration, and I can also contribute to that. So, it is a by-way thing, and also it is the duty and responsibility of the government to provide such avenues, so that the citizens are also participating in that. So, that is how we can say the difference in that. And a major component in e-governance is, of course, the information and communication technology. So, let us see what is the role of ICT, information and communication technology, in governance, in e-governance particularly. Okay. ICT can support to sustain e-governance process. How? By involving in complex decision making and implementation process, and by automating tedious manual tasks. So, there are many processes involved. One is involving in the complex decision making process, ICT has got a role. Then automating the tedious manual task. So, then only it will become easier, and that is how and our aim is to make it smart. Okay. Then when ICTs are properly aligned with governance process, they can create goals in efficiency and effectiveness. So, that is there. It is not necessary that since ICT is there or electronic means are used, the government need not be, or the governance need to be e-governance, but it has to be fruitfully used, it has to be efficiently used, then only the goals can be achieved in terms of efficiency and effectiveness. And with ICT, governments are more open in their interactions with the civil society. In saying so, otherwise in the normal case of governance, people are going to the offices and maybe they may be meeting the concerned person, or their actions are, for what they have gone to the office, that may be fulfilled or not, nobody knows. But it is in the case of e-governance, in the case of ICT, when ICT is used, it is more transparent, because everybody who has access to the system can know. That is, when is the last time, when is the last day to pay a bill, to pay a tax. So, it is clearly it is there. So, when you pay, if it is not accessed, it is the problem with the system, not with the person who is giving the tax or giving the bill. So, it is more transparent. So, that is why we say with ICT, governments are more open, more transparent in their interaction with the civil society. So, that is that is how the governance will become smart, because it is because of the by-way communication, the more transparency that is achieved. Okay. More informed civil society is in a better position to exercise its rights and carry out its responsibilities. Again, the duties and responsibilities coexist, that is what even our constitution says. So, in that way, in order to achieve that higher level, more informed civil society is a requisite, and a prerequisite for that is to exercise its rights and carry out its responsibilities. More informed, the civil society has to be more informed, and that information will be passed to the civil society by means of these kind of e-governance, these kind of electronic means. Okay, and having said that, so we will now just see, that is now we will examine how GIS, the Geographical Information System, has got an upper edge over all other ICTs, all other information and communication technologies. All types of data are needed in e-government or e-governance, whatever it is, among which spatial data are perhaps the most important information, reflecting the distribution rules of spatial entities, that is property, boundaries, roads, etc. Because each and every location, each and every space, each and every parcel of land is very important. So, space will become important, that spatial location will become important. So, any kind of decision making in one way or the other that is related to space, related to location. So, GIS or an information system, that is a part of course ICT, and that will become an essential prerequisite in order to be the governance, the e-governance to be smart governance. Okay. So, therefore, e-government cannot do without GIS, and therefore, the management of e-government cannot be successful without analyzing spatial information. So, we will just understand that spatial information will be an important tool, or that will become the main pillar of governance, because spatial data and spatial information is becoming the thrust area in decision making. In any kind of decision making, any area we go, we will understand that spatial information is a must. And with the advantage of handling spatial data, GIS can provide many services concerning spatial analysis, such as geographical location information, location based services, route tracing, and the analysis of spatial structures. So, one by one we will be seeing. So, everything is related to space. So, when compared to other ICT means and techniques, so GIS has got an upper hand in the power of GIS, that by which it can handle spatial data, spatial information, it can do spatial analysis, it can do spatial modeling, and it can give the result in beautiful maps that is very much comprehensive even for a layman, starting with the administrators, and it can go in either way, top to bottom or bottom to top. So, and in the last session, in this episode only we will be seeing the crowdsourcing and all. So, that is a bottom to top approach. So, in that way all the stakeholders are participating and everybody is keenly interested, because our own land, our own property, our own area that is involved in the decision making. So, everybody has got a role. So, directly you can visualize. So, we say that is seeing is believing. So, that the seeing part, that visualizing part is also taken care of by GIS. So, that is why we say GIS got an upper edge, or GIS has got an upper hand in the e-GIS, or what you can say e-governance or smart governance. So, information and communication technologies provides appropriate government solution for citizens with the help of geographic information system. Okay. So, how is that possible? Suppose for example, a major road, maybe a highway, a state highway, or let it be even a LSG, local self government department road, everything, whatever it is. So, suppose the road is going to be widened. So, without GIS, we have the means, we have the classical, or what you can say the conventional means of getting the survey sheets, the cadastral maps, village boundary maps, road maps and everything, getting all the maps. Then the people, the revenue people or the concerned engineers or the PWD people who are there going to the field, and they will be making the measurements, they will be doing the survey, making the that is again updating the maps, and then getting the final stretch. So, how much land parcel will be taken from this survey number, how much from the next, a total of how much land will be available, how much has to be acquired. So, what will be the cost of the land and how much will be the compensation that will be paid. So, everything is in paper and everything is in records, but it will take time, it will take maybe 6 months or one year, it depends on the nature of the project. But in GIS you can make the maps, you can add all the collateral data or the attribute information. So, you can see that. So, even the engineer who is working on one hand, the revenue people who is working on the other hand, the common citizen whose land is involved, he can also see the map online, and in that way the ICT is getting an upper edge with GIS, because the spatial data in the form of maps, and also not only the spatial part, but the attribute part is also combined. So, in that way a user friendly GIS software can play an important role in planning, developing and implementation of government programs and projects. So, that makes and that is why we say be spatial and be smart. So, what is that geographic information? So, geographic information is the key to better decision making just about everything a community, business or public agency does, whether in day to day operations or long term planning, and that is related to its geography. So, for example, if we take GIS may allow, that is suppose in the case of an emergency situation, in the case of an emergency that is related to a natural disaster that has happened in an area. So, the GIS may allow emergency planners to easily calculate emergency response time and the movement of response teams or the response sources for logistics in the case of a natural disaster. So, they can plan that in which road, so what much is the distance from this area. So, in a buffer area, in a buffer distance of 1 kilometer, what are all the hospitals that is available, what are all the schools wherein the rehabilitation process can be done. So, what are all the teams that can reach the area. So, is there any other routes? So, whether suppose the natural calamity has taken or that has spoiled or that has damaged a bridge. So, what is the other route to reach there? So, everything can be easily planned and that can be easily visualized, and now even with the mobile technology and the phones and other gadgets, the handheld gadgets, we can pass the information also in the form of maps, in the form of messages, in the form of online messages, and online information can be passed also. So, that spatial part, that geographic information part is very important. And another area, ecologically conserving the wetlands and other areas, the sacred groves or wetlands, so which requires conservation. That area, which are all the areas that need protection, that protection strategies can be adopted. So, suppose the problem of pollution in a wetland is there. So, suppose if that is getting reported, so which is the source, whether it is a point source or it is a non-point source of pollution. So, which is the area from which it is getting polluted. In that way it can be easily monitored, it can be easily rectified. So, in all these cases we will understand that the geographic information is important, and getting that geographic information for decision making is very important, and that can be easily done with the help of a GIS. So, now imagine a situation how maps would present the information described in the previous case that we have taken the examples of an emergency or the wetland conservation. How the map, suppose the maps are giving the beautiful scenario, that is how this will be, what will be the routes and what will be the traveling time to that spot, and in the case of pollution in the wetlands, so how will be, what are all the things, and how maps can be given the answer to such situations. In all these cases, we will understand that whatever be the decision making process that is required by the government, a routine role of location or what we call the spatial information part, that is there. So, many routine operations of business and government are tied to a location and rely on the use of geographic information to accomplish their goals. So, suppose for example, if we take the example of a business, a person who wants to establish or he wants to fix some hoardings for his newly started business. So, now with the advancement of technology, what these business people are doing is they identify which are all the best suitable places on a highway or on the side of a highway wherein most of the people or most of the passerbys are taken, or they are giving a view. That is what we call the visibility analysis or something in the GIS jargon. So, what do they do is large hoardings which are already there, and they are fixing some cameras or wherein the face identification is being done. So, what is the response of the passerbys, the travelers by the road? So, how much? So, which is the best location? So, that is again it is a location, it is a case of a visibility. So, that is whether the road is straight in that stretch, or is there is it because that there is no other distraction, that is people are looking at this particular hoarding. So, again that we will come to know that is again about location, or that is again about spatial information that depends or that influences the decision on where to fix that particular hoarding or a flex board about a particular, or fixing large scale advertisements on roadsides. So, that is the routine role of routine role of location in any business or government sponsored decision making process. So, and in the same way, that is just like in business, we have many areas wherein government can utilize the GIS technology or GIS principles, wherein, so to see a few are, that is, let us see, suppose the case of land use planning. Every government is having a problem with the land use, that is because when the government has got a rule and a law for that, maybe people for their convenience or due to some other reasons, maybe they are doing something, maybe deviating from that existing law and the existing practice. So, how that has been done, whether the law has been violated, so how far, if so how far, so for how many years this land has been a paddy field, and when this land use change from that paddy field to a settlement has happened. So, that can be easily done. So, how that is possible? That land use planning can be done because while taking into consideration of all the layers in the sense what are all the maps, the soil map, the lithology, because if in a paddy field where that is an area wherein you can store good amount of water, so that is a good aquifer that is below, so you should not allow that, or the government should not allow that a land use conversion or a land conversion should not be allowed. So, from where the government can get the idea that what is the groundwater condition in that particular area. So, for that the geological and hydrogeologic information should be there. That information should be added to the map which is having the land use of that particular region. So, land use planning can be easily done. So, and the next step is for taxation of different regions, parcel and tax mapping. So, that is again another area wherein the satellite technology or what we call the eye from the sky, that can be easily used. So, again that is there, and in engineering designs also. So, in engineering designs, so earlier suppose we are going to make a tunnel along the road. So, first you have to quantify no GIS was available, so everything was land survey, and in that way, so it was a tedious process. Now we have the map, now we know what is the slope, now we know all geological constraint, what is the strike of the rock, what is the dip of the rock, what type of rock is there. So, if you go in this direction, what could be the slope, if you go the other direction, what could be the slope. So, everything can be modeled. So, everything can be spatially aligned, or that is you have the chance of viewing that in different area, I mean in different directions, then you can go to a decision. So, engineering design has become easy because so everything can be visually identified, visually done before going to practice. And then another area is road and utility maintenance. So, as I told, that is the road making and as well as maintenance is a problem. So, we will understand that which are the stretches which are giving more problem, which are accident prone areas. If that is the case, what is the reason for that? Is there a problem with the slope? Is it because of the curvature? Is it because that no visibility is there? So, everything can be that is identified by means of the geography, by means of the geographic information system. And then another important area where the security purpose, for security purposes and for policing, for defense, everywhere we can use that, and crime mapping has become another area where GIS is beautifully used, GIS is efficiently used. So, what do they do is this suppose that is we are making, or the police person can make the boundary or the administrative boundary of a region, or which is the limit of a particular police station. So, in that what are all the types of crime that has happened for a period of time. So, what is there any pattern, or is there any repetitive pattern that is occurring, or is there any is there any similarity between the crimes that has reported. So, that can be mapped and that can be compared, and that comparison will give us an idea that this is the reason and these are all the culprits, or easily they can find out. So, that crime mapping is another area wherein this GIS or especially intelligent systems or spatial information systems are beautifully used. Another is to making reports and also to report about different things. So, when you have a map of a particular region, so a map is equal to 1000 words we say, or a figure. So, a map will clearly say, so suppose a wetland that has to be conserved. So, if we say that this wetland is unique and this wetland is giving water, groundwater or potable water for a total population surrounding that particular area, when we say that, it won't be that much what you can say, it can be making that much impact as that when you make it with a map. So, when you make a report with a map, that will be more significant or that will be more influential. So, that is there. Another area is, as just we have seen, the emergency management situations. So, in the case of emergency management, we may need that all possible avenues may be required. So, what are all the even the short routes, that is who are all the possible areas, who are all the possible people who can help, that are all may be required, and that can be brought under a single umbrella, and that can be utilized. Then the infrastructure assessment and development, that is there. Infrastructure assessment and development can be easily done with the help of GIS. So, another application wherein the government can use GIS is in making maps or cartography. So, in cartography, that what we do is, or it is another way of digital mapping or digital map making. So, in that case, earlier every map that has to be done by a particular survey department or any department, and then that is provided to the end users, that is it can be researchers, students, academic institutions, survey department, like that. So, now that is changed, everybody can be a map maker. So, in that way, because you have the software, you have the images that is given. So, in that way, that is earlier, that is as far as India is concerned, the Survey of India was the agency which was making maps, especially the topographic sheets or the topo maps. And now they have, due to the policy change or due to the slight change in the map making and distribution policy, the information disseminating policy, what has happened is the topo sheets are, of course, that is restricted, but they are providing the maps in the form of an open series maps which are called OSM. So, that is available to the people, and that is in that way, there is a person who is interested in the cartographic studies, that they can make use of that particular map as a base map. So, that has been provided by the Survey of India by means of their portal called Nakshe. So, if a person who has got an Aadhaar card and a mobile number, he can log into the Survey of India Nakshe portal and he can download the area of interest, the map that particular area, and that map can be identified either by the sheet number or by giving the location. So that can be identified and downloaded. So he can do any kind of analysis, any kind of research work for academic purposes, for researchers, and government people can also make use of those sheets. So cartography is that has become so popular, or that has become a people's science, because map making has become so easy that that with the advancement of GIS, and these maps that can be downloaded with the help of open source GIS softwares, people can work on that. So if you want to update the roadmap of your particular area, your area of interest, your panchayat, your district, or your block, so anybody who is interested to do that, they can do that. So such avenues are being propagated into people. So that is one area, and another area is environment and environmental protection. So for which spatial data is a must, and spatial data is highly and essentially used, because environment, that is the why environment is important. So again, if that is visually available, so for example, when the land use change is taking place in an area, so that is what happens to the land use and land cover, how it is changing. So how much area of how much hectares of forest has been destroyed, or that has been deforested in order to make settlements. What is the magnitude of that? So when you see that in the form of a map, or when you see the repetition, so I mean when you see that in the that is how far it has been done, that is from the year 1990 to 2000, or 1995 to 2000, in 5-year gap, or in 5-year interval, or 10-year interval, or 1-year interval, how the land use changes happen and how that has affected the environment. When we say, for example, when you take the account, that is when you see, when you want to quantify what much amount of rock material that has been mined from a particular district. So what is the what quantity of material is being mined, and what is the reason for that particular mine, the particular mining. So for example, as far as Kerala is concerned, we know that almost all rivers are affected by means of large scale sand mining, and when the large scale sand mining was banned, because that was affecting the life of the rivers, and that was affecting the environment as a whole. That was affecting the environment as well as the life of the rivers. What happened was the sand mining in the rivers were stopped, that was stopped in the rivers, but that directly affected the Western Ghats and also the small hillocks that is part of the Western Ghats, because everybody turned to M sand, or the that is manufactured sand. So it is nothing but making the rock material into the sand sized particle, but actually the sand that we were getting from the rivers were different, and that sand is exactly different from what you are getting from the quarries, where you are getting the M sand, which is just the sand sized particle only, not the cohesiveness of the sand that we were getting from the rivers is available, that is there with the M sand. So such kind of things, which are all the area where excessive mining practices are being carried out. So and that also, if there is no inaccessible areas now, otherwise in the hilly terrain or in the forested land, if such kind of activities are being done, nobody was having any kind of information about that. But now with the satellite communication and satellite information, now we know that when somebody is doing something that is clearly visible in the satellite image. So with feeding that information into the GIS, government can understand, or the law can enforce its the law can be enforced by identifying the culprits and what kind of violation, if any, that is being carried out or that is being done in any particular area. Another area is the green asset management. So that is when the climate change and that is greenhouse effect that are all being talked about, or that are all being worked about. So we know that is green asset is an important thing. The green cover is to be protected. So how much green cover is there, whether it is in the decreasing trend or increasing trend, that can be identified and protected. So for that, again, that mapping can also be done with the help of GIS. And another area is the property management. So about which we will be seeing in the next episode, wherein the property management and taxation can be efficiently managed by using a GIS. So far we have seen the different areas in which the government can adopt GIS with ICTs, information and communication technologies. These are all the areas wherein GIS can be efficiently mingled with GIS, efficiently mingled with ICT, and that can be efficiently infiltrated to the people. So in that way, and we can see that in all these areas, people has got a stake. They can also contribute, they can also update they can also see the result. So, in that way we can see that GIS can be efficiently glued to ICT, and that will give an upper hand to e-governance. So, in that way we will see this is how GIS can be mingled, and so we are stopping for now, and in the next episode we will see how that can be efficiently done, how after mingling that what are all the new technologies that has come and how far that is being practiced. So, with that we will be stopping for now. Thank you for watching.